The Gory Games.
Welcome back to the Gory Gaze, the horror podcast where two horror movie loving boyfriends slash up and bleed out your favorite
Oh, and
Look.
not so favorite.
horror movies.
Oh my god.
Well, in lieu of February, the month of love, we're going to go ahead and shout us out as boyfriends.
Oh, well, I mean, we are boyfriends. I love it. Okay. Well, y'all caught us on a good week because we are reviewing Forrest Gump.
Yes, life is like a box of chocolates, and this is perfect for Valentine's.
Oh my gosh, because this is actually a horror film.
It has so much gore in it.
No, it has nothing to do with the gore. It's the fact. Well, yes,
It does.
It is
absolutely
gory.
does. It's
Those
so heart-bleedingly horrific.
those war scenes. Are pretty intense.
Oh my gosh, you're right. They actually are.
But I'm mostly talking about the Jenny
That bitch Jenny.
being a villainous whore. Fuck off, bitch. Fuck off, bitch.
That video is so funny. Okay.
Oh my god, we were watching Forrest Gump though earlier, and we're not reviewing that obviously, but we definitely watched that because Alex has been itching to watch it.
It's true.
And I don't know what. I don't know why. Why have you been
It's the
wanting to
feeling of the
watch it?
movie, the aesthetic of it, the 60s, the music, like everything in it is just so good. And like you were mentioning earlier, how many eras of life actually happen in that one movie.
Yeah, I had read somewhere a long time ago, or maybe someone told me, I can't remember, that it was the only movie up until that point that had covered all the major events in history or whatever. But it's funny because I was watching it tonight with you, and there's a lot of stuff that I was crying like a baby throughout the entire thing, but that's like an entirely different story.
I know.
But there was stuff that I was catching that I was like, wow, like how did I miss this before? Like the fact that he was named after a Ku Klux Klan member.
Yeah.
How did I fucking miss that all these years?
That's great. These are all good stories.
Wild. But man, that movie has a soundtrack.
Yeah, it really does. And that's what like had me itching for it was just the soundtrack because I kept on doing the guitar noises, like
Yeah, it has like that
for
weird.
that Vietnam segment of the whole movie is the best part of the music.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the 60s. Like, is that your favorite segment?
I think so. Like in every movie kind of like I just like that 60s feeling, like the filming of movies that are done in the 60s. It's like I always tell you for like Bloodline and like, like it's the aesthetic of the movie, the way it just filmed like more yellows and like a lot of sky blues in it.
Did you just throw out a Pet Cemetery?
I damn did, didn't I?
Yeah,
That
y'all.
sure is Pet Cemetery.
Bled Cemetery.
Let Cemetery. I need to start doing my homework on that one.
Oh, eventually, yeah. We're gonna be reviewing that one with fun with horror.
Yes,
We're gonna
we
be
are.
having some fun with horror on.
But yes, it's the aesthetic of the movies to me. Anything
Yeah.
that has to do with the 60s, I mainly
I
am
agree.
attracted to.
I didn't realize up until this viewing as well that it concludes in like early 80s, that it like ends in 1981 or 83, I think. But yeah, dude, what a fucking trip that movie is. Jenny is just, I understand that she's like a drug addict and she's going through some shit. And like ultimately, that's why she keeps leaving him. And
I kept on rooting for her. You kept on like, I hate her. I just hate her. And I'm just like, no. And up until she goes back to the house and she cries and she throws the rocks at them, I'm like, this is why she is the way she is.
Well, yeah.
Fucked up. She had a fucked up childhood.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts somewhere.
Yeah.
And I knew that she was abused.
And her thing was always running away anyways. She prayed with him, like, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. And so it's like, she was eventually prone to just, no matter where she landed, with who she landed, she would always just leave because it's what she wanted to do. It was her security was to leave, always.
But she always came back.
She always came back.
Somehow she always came back. The last time I watched this movie was probably like 6 years ago, but I always made it up that at the end, when she had him come back, it was more of a like, I'm just dying, take care of me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's not it though. Like she has him come back because she wants him to be a father and she wants to marry him. And there's like the whole accumulation of she wants to live the life that she never got to.
Finally gave him everything he asked for, like even for that little brief moment.
Yeah, and she didn't get to live the life that she had wanted because of like the addiction that she had been trying to overcome her whole adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
and such. But anyway, we're not talking about
Yes, we
Forrest
are.
Gump today. Well, yeah,
Okay.
we very well could.
25 minutes in.
Ah, unbelievable.
But it does coincide with a lot of with what we're going to talk about today. So, and I mean, the loss of a, parent,
Oh, I mean,
things like that, because that does happen to him eventually. It's
his
the
mom
saddest part of the movie.
does die. Yeah, I guess you're right. We are going to be talking about 2015's The Blackcoat's Daughter
Yeah, that's what this podcast is about today.
today, not Forrest Gump. But yeah, you're right. There are like some correlating themes that kind of go hand in hand. Is there anything else?
So we finished Netflix. There's nothing else to watch.
Well, what have we watched?
Like, what have we watched?
What have we
That's what
watched?
I'm
I
saying.
just
Like,
don't
we've
really
actually-
feel
it's
like
just
we.
feel like now we're just repeating shows because there's nothing mainly coming out that we've already did.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've watched anything new.
Yeah.
I feel like the movies that we have watched, weirdly enough, have all been somehow scattered about on Lonnie's board. So
Yeah.
I,
Right now we're at the point where we're watching shows that you have watched that you want me to catch or like watch, and I'm doing the same to you, like watching shows that I want you to watch.
yeah, like we're still watching Yellow Jackets, and we started watching Feud season 1.
Yeah.
Because I am watching Feud season 2 because that just came out. The new show with Demi Moore and Molly Ringwald and Diane Lane and Naomi Watts, and it's really, really incredible. So we started watching Feud season 1 because Alex had never seen that show as well. And oddly enough, Keirnan Shipka popped up, and
That was
she's
the coolest.
one of the stars of this film. So, what are you thinking of that show so far?
You know what? It's a pretty intense show. I'm liking the whole Kiernan Shipka character and the relationship with her and Susan. And by Susan, I mean Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
For those that.
The show is obviously about the making of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and Keirnan Shipka plays Susan Sarandon's daughter. And in the movie, Betty Davis's daughter is cast as like the nosy neighbor's daughter, and she's notoriously really terrible. But Keirnan Shipka is not. Keirnan Shipka is a very, very good actress.
And she lets her have it.
Yeah, they have
She lets mom have it.
a really good scene in the episode that we watched. I think we're only 3 episodes in.
Mm-hmm. Of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's only 3 episodes of season 2. And the 3rd episode airs tonight, actually.
Oh, so now we know what I'm going to bed with.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Oh, and we started watching, what was it called? We started watching Russian Doll tonight.
Yes. What did you think so far?
Well, we literally got like 15 minutes in. But I didn't realize it's one of those Groundhog Day stories.
Yeah. So it's not up until she dies that it actually turns you in better, right?
Yeah, but I mean, she dies like within like the first like 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is a spoiler. Sorry for anybody who hasn't seen Russian Doll, but that's like the basis of the show.
I just feel like the filming changes, like the cinematography changes. As soon as she dies, like it just becomes a different filter.
Have you seen the show before?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so you'll know more than I do. I really love her in Poker Face.
That one I haven't watched.
You should. It's really good. I was just talking to Erin about Natasha Lyonne. She said she was watching Party Monster, and I told her she should watch Freeway 2. And we had been talking about Freeway 2 at one point. Oh my God, I think it was the first episode. I think we talked about Freeway 2.
Man, she's
Did
going
we?
back to Party Monster?
I don't know. Who, Erin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Erin?
I forgot that Natasha Lyonne was even in Party Monster. But yeah, other than that, the movies that we've been watching are all, ironically enough, on Lonnie's board. So I don't really want to say what they are, but we did watch The Descent Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
That fell into our hands somehow. And that was kind of, it wasn't great, but I had only seen it once before. Alex had never seen that or the first one. So that was interesting. What did you think of those ones?
I think we mentioned this in last week's podcast, but I'm not sure if we didn't.
What?
About watching The Descent?
I think we had mentioned that we want to see.
Yeah, or that I haven't watched part 2, and then I watched it that night, I believe. Right?
No, because this happened in San Diego.
Oh, you're right.
So this just happened.
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you making things up?
Okay, never mind me. I'm still in San Diego.
We did go to San Diego.
Yeah, we did. It was kind of cool.
Maybe that's why we feel like we didn't watch a lot.
No, because we were actually being tourists.
And my friend Ashley was there, and Alex had never met Ashley before, so that was really exciting.
Yeah, and that was kind of cool to show them around town.
Well, me too, because I've only been there once, but I had never been to that part.
And there's so many parts that we need to go back to.
Yeah, I want to go when we have more time and when we have dogs that are on a more calm level.
Yeah.
Sheriff was having a fucking cow.
We need help. Oh.
Yeah, we were only there for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like that long. It was a very expensive night.
It was so worth it though. Like we don't even do that. We're not even like up and goers like that. We're mainly just here at the house trying to hike and just, enjoy our the fruits of our labor. But it will change, of course. We haven't done that in the past, but it will change where we just get up and go to more, close by towns and stuff like that.
Well, we've been talking about going to Italy.
Yeah, and I'd rather save up for something like that.
Yeah, so that sounds fun. So as much as we would like to revisit you, San Diego,
I don't care about these little hop visits. I want a big trip, like a good big trip.
We literally had like a little prayer circle between us and the dogs this morning, and we ended it with like, take us to Italy, Jesus.
It's gonna go there, amen.
Have you ever seen a movie called Green Room?
Probably not, but you know me, once I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Were you paying attention the other night? Was it last night? I think maybe it was the night before when we were doing notes for this movie. There's a trailer for a movie called Green Room. It's about that band who end up trying to get out of this club that they're like being held in. And there's like pit bulls and stuff, and Patrick Stewart from Star Trek looking all creepy. Do you remember this trailer?
Yeah, I do. What about it?
Gosh, did you ever see the movie?
No, I didn't.
We need to watch it. I don't know. I wrote it down in my notes for some reason. I just wrote Green Room.
Yeah.
And that's probably because I want to revisit it. I remember seeing it once and I really, really liked it. But rewatching the trailer, it has that song, that Bad Moon Rising cover.
Yeah.
And it's used so well.
Yeah, you're right. That did look like a really cool trailer.
Oh my goodness. Other than that, I think we're still hanging on to the last 6 minutes of Maid. Never gonna finish that.
I can't believe that. Yeah, really.
We haunt the past.
Yeah, honestly, like we're like, hold on to it. The summer will roll on, and we still would probably not watch it.
Well, I was a devout Glee fan, like a very big Glee fan. Even after Corey Monteith died, and he was like the light of the show for me. Like, and I will go to Rachel Berry's grave with her. I just loved the show. I still have not seen the last half of the last season.
Well, let's go.
I think that it's something that I would have to restart from the beginning.
No way.
Yeah, it's just one of those shows. I just loved it so much. And it's all because I was convinced that Ryan Murphy stole the idea from me. I really thought that I was the one who thought of that idea.
It was you.
It was probably you too,
I was there.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that day.
Thinking of the same idea.
Yeah, I was there. We were writing it down on a napkin.
Precisely. That's funny. Oh, should we say happy birthday to my mom?
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, because this episode is dropping on my mom's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Leanne.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mommy. If you're listening, we love you. We know you received our coloring books because you told us. You have not received our Olive Garden gift card.
Yep.
But you are going to because we put it in the mail today.
Yeah.
Right after we had
that Olive Garden
breakfast.
Olive Garden card.
Well, it's funny because she's going to the Olive Garden for her birthday dinner. And I was like, well, shit. Like, I wish I would have known because I would have sent this a lot sooner so you could put this gift card towards your dinner.
True.
It's so funny.
And she will. And that's kind of exciting.
And you know what else is exciting?
What is that?
We have been clean from alcohol for 201 days.
I cannot believe that. I mean, it happened so fast. That's the whole, like, wow. Like,
I was thinking. Say it again?
This is happening.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. And we mentioned in our Worst Witch episode that we were 60 days, I think. And we had pre-recorded. And so when that episode dropped, we were well over the 60 days. I think we were like 90 days, I think.
Yeah. And yes, we're celebrating it because this is something huge for both of us. At least for myself. I mean, I feel like this is the biggest step I've ever taken to do something for myself.
Yeah. Got to take your life back
Yeah.
in certain ways. And this is a huge way.
This is my fight song.
Girl, take back my life song. Well, congratulations to you.
And to you as well, Stanley.
Thank you. And congratulations to anybody out there who is potentially struggling or just trying to do things or just doing things and accomplishing things.
Yes.
I just thought that was something really, really worth kind of throwing up in the air right alongside with this is our 20th episode.
Yeah. I had mentioned earlier how there's a lot of twos happening today. 201.
Yeah.
20th episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm so happy that this is like a milestone episode because this is such a good movie.
Which movie? Forrest Gump? I'm kidding.
No.
You're like, no.
Wait a second.
Yeah, it really is.
It's such a good movie. And for this to be our 20th episode, I think that it's really a nice way to celebrate.
I mean, that movie, like, I think of the ending of that movie and my stomach just like turns and like it's all weird. And I'm like, I just feel it.
Yeah. It's just one of those movies that I always tell myself like, oh, I probably won't watch this again for a really long time. And then I wait a really long time and then I watch it and then I'm like, there are reasons why I just don't watch this very often. And then, over the last week, we watched it a couple of times and I'm so glad that I have seen it as many times this last week as I have because it's just a movie that hits differently.
Yeah. Keirnan Shipka is frightening as fuck in this movie to me.
Yeah, and she's a baby in
Yeah, she really is, but she's got these fucking eyes that are just they just like stare like deep into your soul as the audience even. She's freaking frightening.
Yeah, like this is like early Keirnan Shipka. This is 2015.
Yeah.
Like this is before Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This is before, Feud.
I get the chills just thinking about this movie. How scary her role is in this movie.
Yeah, like she had just done Flowers in the Attic, the Lifetime remake in 2014, and this came right after. I'm not a huge fan of the Flowers in the Attic movie that came out in 2014, but this is like a sheer difference of quality and performance. I mean, she was okay in that, but she is something entirely different. Like
she invoked it for sure.
Yeah, you've never seen any of the actors like this before. And
honestly, no.
Emma Roberts included.
Yep.
Yeah, Emma Roberts is also like super hit or miss. I'm not saying that Keirnan Shipka is hit or miss for me because anything that I've seen her in, I usually really like. I was never someone who watched Mad Men, but I did watch Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
For Emma Roberts, it's like she doesn't even do much. She doesn't talk much. She doesn't do much, but just the way that she presents her character and the way she just brought out feelings inside of her that we just, see through reactions in her face or how she's moving or what she's doing.
Oh, yeah. It's very calculated.
Uh-huh.
Like she gives a very calculated, well played, quiet performance. And
which now that I think about it, both characters kind of do. They're just as quiet as the other, right?
Well, there are reasons for that. And we will talk about that when we start slashing up and bleeding it out. Have you ever seen her in anything else? I mean, outside of like the obvious, have you seen her in
other than her like bitchy roles, like which
not Emma Roberts. I'm sorry. I jumped. I meant Keirnan Shipka.
Honestly, not like this. Like not like think this is the only role that I've seen her in be like this.
No, but are you familiar with anything that she's ever done?
Oh, of course, like Sabrina, yeah, of course I know who she is. I know work that she's done. Yeah,
okay,
I'm familiar with her.
So you would agree that this is like a drastic step away from like something that she would
like. Will I ever see her like this again? I hope so.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the what's that girl from Princess Diaries?
Anne Hathaway
effect, where she kind of was like kooky, then did something serious, then went back to like like kooky, which is like kind of weird to explain. But like her characters have gone from like it ranges a lot, and I feel like Keirnan did this character, and it was like maybe the most serious character that I've ever seen in Keirnan.
Yeah, I am looking at her filmography right now, and prior to this, she did a lot of short films. And, she did Mad Men, a movie called Carriers that was actually kind of good. I think Piper Perabo was in that movie. And after this movie, she obviously has gotten much bigger in name. And she's going to be in that Twisters sequel or reboot.
Oh, yes.
We talked about that last night. So that'll be interesting.
I can't wait for that movie.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We really like the first one over on this end.
Yeah.
We also really liked her in Totally Killer.
Yeah, and see, like those roles, I'm like, I think that's the only role that I kind of am familiar with because I've never seen Blackcoat's Daughter till last week.
Yeah,
and that role compared to who she is now as characters, like, are more similar to what Blackcoat's Daughter was.
Yeah,
like, every character that she's played after Blackcoat's Daughter kind of seems like the same character.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. These roles that these girls play, I don't really think that the Rose character so much, but definitely Kat and definitely Joan. These are the kind of roles that young actresses like Keirnan Shipka and Emma Roberts would probably really want under their belt or on their resume.
Yeah.
And to work with someone like Osgood Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins, who played Norman Bates in Psycho. This was his first film.
Yeah, really cool.
But he has gone on to do a couple other really cool projects. Like, he didn't write the Gretel and Hansel movie that came out right before COVID or right during COVID, I guess.
This is his first film?
This was his first film that he wrote and directed that was released. But
we did somebody's first film last week. Or was it Cam that we did somebody's? It was the first director's first film.
That was someone's first directorial effort as well. Yeah. But this guy, he didn't really start doing much until much later, which is surprising. He did a movie called Cold Comes the Night. He was the writer on that. That was in 2013. And in 2015, right before this, he was the writer on a movie called The Girl in the Photographs, which is a Wes Craven executive produced film. I saw it once. I don't remember a lot about it. But that says something. I don't remember a lot about it. And then this is the first that he was responsible for directing and writing. And then there's a movie called I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, which was a Netflix movie that is probably still on there. But he also wrote and directed that. Never saw it. People think that was his first one, but it wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah, but he directed Gretel and Hansel. I thought that he also wrote it. He did not.
He only directed it.
Yeah, he only directed it. Okay. But I really liked that movie. I didn't love it the first time, but the second time I watched it, I really, really enjoyed.
I need to rewatch that movie.
It's got a style. He's got a style.
Yeah.
Like, you can see traces of the Blackcoat's Daughter in a movie like Gretel and Hansel. And I guess he did an episode of The Twilight Zone, the reboot of The Twilight Zone. And there's a movie coming out in July called Long Legs. Like, it's really, really highly anticipated with Nicolas Cage and Micah Monroe that he is also director.
Seen the posters floating around.
Yeah, he directed and wrote that as well. So I don't know where I was going with that. I just broke down his filmography, though.
Well, that's kind of good.
Yeah. Have you seen any of those movies that I just mentioned?
No. None of them.
Oh, you had never... Wait, did you say you've never seen Gretel and Hansel, or you needed to watch it again?
I need to rewatch that one, if it's probably the only one that I've watched that you named.
It's an interesting version of the story.
I think because mentally I was expecting something else, but just because of the whole Hansel and Gretel thing, and I didn't give it the opportunity.
Yeah, again, it's one of those movies that you kind of have to have an open mind for. It's like The Little Mermaid getting a kind of a different spin. And if you have a different mindset while you're watching it, you might have a lot of fun with it. The aesthetic value of that movie, though, is really, really good. If you can get past like the dialogue, and if you can get past some certain plot things and kind of suspend your belief, it's a good time. We have it. I'm pretty sure we have it. And Alice, I think her last name is Craig or Craig. I don't know. She's the mom in Sleepwalkers. She plays the witch. And she's fucking good.
I love witches like that.
Yeah. Oh, we should also say that this guy was an actor. You know him. You've seen his face. When we were watching the making of this last night, did you recognize him as the nerdy guy from Legally Blonde?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that he has kind of been on both sides of the camera.
Yep.
That's really neat. And he also played young Norman Bates in Psycho 2,
Uh-huh.
which I think is really cool. So yeah, that's a little bit, or a lot of it even, about Osgood or Oz Perkins, whatever we want to call him. You know, a fun little fact about this movie is that in Netflix UK, it was released under the title February. And I think that not only more than fits with the theme that we have going, this whole like love hurts, February hurts type of deal.
Kind of, right?
It does, I think. Like it's about like heartbreak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this movie really has like a plain as day heartbreak as it wraps up, and it's really fucking tragic.
It really is. This
It
movie, well, of course, because once I break it down, I'm like, this is a whole nother thing than I thought it was gonna be. Like, this is a
Yeah.
whole nother movie.
So the fact that it's called February is like,
Feb-
well, at least on Netflix UK is kind of fitting. And even Perkins had said that he wanted to make a sad movie and that he wanted to use the horror platform as his angle,
Mhm.
as his angle. I mean, because that's like an easier selling point, you know? And like, what a way to do it. And also, Brian Bertino is one of the producers on this movie I'm seeing, and he is responsible for the movie The Strangers, which
Oh,
makes so
yeah.
much sense.
Yes, it does.
I love that. It would have been really cool if this movie had been released in February, but we'll get into all that when you
I think
break
he did it because, I
all that
see.
stuff down for us.
The director was actually born on February 2nd was his birthday, so happy birthday to him.
Oh, happy late birthday, Oz
Yeah.
Perkins.
Happy belated birthday. And he does like to go by Oz, right?
I think that it's Oz Perkins. Yeah, I mean his name is Osgood Perkins. It like on Wikipedia it says Osgood Perkins,
Yeah.
but I mean it could be Oz. I mean
I
if you
think he likes to go by Oz.
if you click on his name, it says Osgood quote Oz Perkins.
Wow.
Yeah,
The man behind the curtain.
I love that. I love that he is definitely born on February 2nd. How cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's interesting is last week we did Cam, our episode on the movie Cam, which is super Alice in Wonderlandy in a way. I guess I had called it Diet Alice in Wonderland.
Uh-huh.
And then I had the Jabberwocky poem to deal with. And then so my scene in acting class, or like something that had to do with acting class correlated to that. And then now we are doing this movie, and then my scene in acting class, I'm playing a priest. And this movie has, I
Yeah.
want to say, some Catholic.
The beginning of the movie is her
It's
talking
like
to the priest.
Catholic undertones, right?
And it's when we start discovering things, if you pay attention, it's already giving us the hint of what's happening in the movie.
Do you get right off the bat like any abuse vibes from the fathers or the priests, or like
No,
notably the priest that she's dealing with?
not necessarily abuse, but hypnosis. It was kind of weird because I would look at all the girls behind, like me, I'm always looking at the background. And I noticed all the girls in the school that they were kind of like hypnotized. They just seemed like very blah, like very somber, same stare. Like they all answered the same, like answer. It was very weird.
Oh,
So-
I don't know if I ever caught that.
Yeah, it was very weird. Like the school was very sad and everybody had the same motion. Like there was no emotion in anybody.
I wonder if that's just because we're so focused on Keirnan Shipka's character as well as Lucy Boynton's character.
There's reasons for that.
I mean, sure. Alex said too, like he was paying attention. This is one of those movies you really need to pay attention from beginning to end because it's told in 3 different parts.
3 different girls are the main, right? I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, as far as
Yeah.
the way I broke it down was like, oh, we're watching 3 different stories, 3 different girls.
Yeah, it's 3 different chapters, I suppose, and then it kind of it more than wraps itself up at the end. And it really, really, I mean, it's not loud, but internally, it's kind of like well, fuck you if you weren't paying attention.
Yeah,
To
get
the
ready to call
viewer.
your psychiatrist.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Because you crazy, bitch.
This is a really heavy movie. Fuck off, bitch. We watched this clip. I don't know where the fuck it came from of these two fucking Southern queens in an airport. I'm sure they're drunk.
What was the airport? American Airlines?
I think
American Airlines gonna fuck this up.
yeah, something like that. And then they're trying to get home to their emotional support dogs, or like their emotional support dogs are stuck under the
At
fucking.
least we think that's what it is.
We're trying to find out who Dolly and who's the other one?
Oh my gosh.
Dolly and
Dolly, do for Dolly. Dolly and
Shelby.
Shelby. Yeah.
Dolly and
Dolly
Shelby. Don't forget the girls.
Don't forget the girls.
And then the other one is just so dramatic, and it's two queens. And he's like, he's trying to talk to this other woman who has an emotional support dog, and he's like, "I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. I'm gonna do this for you." And then she literally says to him, as she's like kind of like keeping her dog at bay, she goes, "Step away from me." And then what does he say to her, Alex?
He puts his hands on his hips and he bends down and he's like, "Fuck off, bitch." It's the funniest reaction ever. It's so cool.
It is the greatest thing we've ever seen.
We've replayed it so much.
It's honestly, it's like the most wonderful thing that we've ever seen in our entire lives.
Okay, so then Keirnan Shipka
Oh,
welcome to the Gory game.
yeah. I mean, we might as well just get into it. I'm telling you, this is. I have a
Psychological
personal
thriller for sure.
Yeah, no, this is a horror movie.
Oh shit.
No, this is straight up a horror.
Oh wait, yeah. What am I talking about? Thriller.
I mean, they want you to. I mean, during the making of the movie, all these people are like, "Oh, this is a psychological thriller." Fuck off. This is
Fuck off, bitch.
fuck off, bitch. This is a horror movie through and through. This is such a slow burning, frightening, weird, like, and it's like done in such a way that it's subtle. Like it's such a subtle take on the possession genre.
Mhm.
It's also about so many different things as well. Like it's about, the loss of innocence. It's about the loss of loved ones. It's about being alone. It's about heartbreak, like I said, which is why it fits perfectly with what it is that we're doing this month.
It was a sneak attack with a possession movie. It was like so unexpected, and the delivery was just given how it starts.
Yeah.
There is no possession. It just starts.
Yeah, and it kind of just...
It's like an acceptance. It's done.
Yeah, it transcends into like this tale of a girl who has somehow latched onto, or let a demon latch onto her, and how she doesn't want to shake it off. And somehow, though, you understand her at the end of it. I don't know. I did. And maybe it's just based on Kiernan's performance, because this girl gives a bone-chilling performance. And I think I've said it in the past that this is probably one of my favorite horror films in the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like this is quite literally a perfect horror movie. And
I can see why this would fall in line with like Hereditary. It's just a different coat on horror.
Yeah. It's just some of these A24 movies are just different level, and this just tells like such an original story. And it's, again, like it does have those possession elements to it, but it's told in such a different way. That
it's so good to not have so much church in it, if you will, like, because I didn't see so much of the church part, and the whole exorcisms and the whole reading of the Bible.
It's not about that.
No,
I don't think any of it's about that. I think
like we know what it is, but it's just like it was unnecessary to begin with, and they don't give us that. It's literally such a good movie.
Did you know that it was a possession movie when you first watched it, or like when you were watching it?
As soon as I heard her say cunt,
yeah, okay.
No, it's not Miss Prescott. It's her little assistant lady. I didn't get her name, but it's the other lady that's with Miss Prescott. As soon as she says cunt to her and the voices come out, that's when I knew that it was a possession movie.
Yeah, and see, I had seen this movie a few times prior to this, but it was not until this time that I caught key sentences like that led me to believe that this is something that had already happened. I don't know how to explain it. We'll get into it when we talk about the plot. But God, yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this movie. I'm really excited to slash it up and bleed it out, if you will, because a lot of people don't know about this one. Like, people might say that they do, but there are so many people that just don't know that this movie exists, and it's just full of such good performances, and it's directed in such a brilliant way that I'm just really stoked to finally be able to talk about it with somebody.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's talk about
The people under the stairs.
This movie starring Emma Roberts as Joan and Keirnan Shipka Catherine, Lucy Boynton as Rose, Lauren Holly, and James Remmer are the ones that I can name that stuck out to me or stood out to me the most. Anybody else? I'm not sure if you have anybody else in mind, but for me, that was them.
I mean, I think they're the important ones. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like the sisters that they have to stay with, but
Yeah, I mean they're just limited amounts of time for me, so
yeah, I think
necessarily
that
I don't want to
these
name
are
everybody.
probably the more important characters.
Yeah.
But Lauren Holly and James Remar they play Rose's parents.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I think they play, besides the girls, probably the longest roles or the second longest roles.
Yeah, it's
of
kind
character.
it's kind of an ensemble movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the people you just listed get a fair amount of screen time
Yes.
for the most part.
And of course, directed and written by, we had mentioned earlier, Osgood Perkins. And then we have several producers that worked alongside with him to create this wonderful masterpiece, of course, but it's quite a list.
Well, the only one that I really cared about was Brian Bertino.
Tell us about Brian.
Oh, well, Brian Bertino is just the one who wrote and directed The Strangers. And
yeah.
he also did this movie called The Dark and the Wicked that came out in 2020 that was really, really good and very well received. That if you haven't seen it, you should. And he also wrote the sequel to The Strangers, which I did not love the way that movie like ended up coming together ultimately, but I did like certain parts of it. And there's a movie that came out in 2016 called The Munster that I remember bits and pieces of it, but I don't remember all of it, that we should probably check out again.
Mm-hmm.
But he's pretty respected in this genre specifically for The Strangers.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like he's important to this film, because if he was a part of the producing team, then, you know.
Totally relate.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. We have music by Elvis Perkins, brother of Oz.
Yeah.
How cool is this?
Also son of Anthony Perkins.
Oh my. It just gets better. How cool would that be to work with your brother or just work with a family member and collaborating together with them and making music for even like a film like this? It's
Well,
fucking cool.
It's funny you say that because Elvis Perkins is a really respected musician, obviously, but he had said that he did not love composing this film. He said that he didn't like the limited time constraints or something like that because he had never done a film score before, and he didn't like just being limited. And he literally said that the quote, the restrictions almost killed him.
Okay, I mean that's fair, right? Fair. I mean, you get it. I get it.
Poor Elvis.
Poor Elvis. Yeah, life is tough. Yeah. Anywho, let's get some numbers going. And this, I mean, what Rotten Tomatoes has given us a score of 75%.
Boo.
IMDb a 5.9 out of 10. Letterboxd, I'm gonna throw that at you since you've been working with Letterboxd recently.
Oh my god, we're co-partners.
Yes, we are.
Letterboxd. And I did give this movie a perfect score on Letterboxd, just so all you know, and I did learn how to follow people. So I am officially following Alex back now.
Yes, he is. Ask me if I'm following him.
He's not.
I'm not, but I am following Osgood Perkins.
Okay, perfect. At least you're following someone.
Yeah, really.
Might as well be him.
And then I have, let me give you the number for Letterboxd. Is a 3.2 out of 5.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, really?
That's fine. That's better than 75%. Well,
it really
is. Is it kind of the same thing? I mean, 3 out of 5.
I think they could have been a little more fair to it.
I don't know. I think 75 is bullshit. 75%.
It's just, it's a type of movie. It's not that gory. It's not that slashery, you know, like it's just a type of movie. It's like missing somebody and, filling it up with a different type of sensation.
Now, is that what you think, or is that what you think other people think?
Well, that's what I think is like this movie is probably, it'll affect one type of audience more than the general audience, I think. Like it's aimed towards one audience.
Yeah, it's a mood for sure.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is that if Cam a movie like that, which I
Oh
didn't
gosh,
hate.
yeah.
I didn't hate that movie, but this movie is miles and miles better. This movie
Oh, absolutely.
story wise, acting wise, like this movie is miles better.
I'm telling you, I would put this next to Hereditary in that sense to me of the type of the slowness of the movie, but so good, and then family, drama and just like different ways of horror.
Yeah, I hate to quote Scream 2022, but this
Oh
is
my gosh,
this
did you
is the
just do
kind
that?
of movie that Jenna Ortega is referring to in the opening
Um,
when she's talking about elevated horror.
yeah,
Like this is totally one of those movies. This falls in category with The Witch.
and they're telling us this because at the end of the day, Scream is about family horror.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, especially Scream 2022 and then Scream 6. I mean, they're about the Carpenter sisters who are kicking ass and slashing people up.
Okay.
So, yeah. Do you have a Metacritic?
A Metacritic. Oh, 68 out of 100 for Metacritic.
Okay. I found something from the Hollywood Reporter from someone named Leslie Felperin. They said, quote, as with so many of the best mystery horror films, the optimum way to enjoy a first viewing of this is to try and remain as ignorant as possible about what happens. That said, it also brims with tiny, blink and you'll miss them details that will repay repeat viewings, unquote. And I think that's a really positive review.
Yeah, I think so too. Perfectly said.
Yeah, because again, you really, really need to have your eyes on the TV for this one because the story is so masterfully told and everything is so detail oriented and it's just an intricate story. And if you think you're watching something that is very simple, I mean you are, but there is a lot more to it than just a girl is being possessed. Like, yeah, that's happening, but there's so many different layers in this tiny little movie that are worth like peeling. I
Yeah.
guess if you want to use like onion metaphors.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good metaphor.
Right?
Yep.
And then I'm going to read one more little variety quote from Joe Layden. He said, and I quote, in addition to everything else he does right in The Blackcoat's Daughter, Perkins plays fair. When you replay the movie in your mind after the final fade out, you realize that every twist was dutifully presaged and the final reveal was hidden in plain sight all along, unquote. And I also agree as well on that because the first time that I watched this, I had no idea what had even happened. I had to actually watch it again, which I did. So I waited until the next night, watched it again, and was like blown away. I was just like, wow, like this is the most captivating shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I couldn't tell you why. There's just some, I mean, I could like just tell you for days and days why, but like it just would sound repetitive and tedious. There's just something so haunting about this movie. And there's very few movies that have had an effect on me the way that this movie has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like this movie will affect people differently.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, it's the aim, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, every movie does affect everybody differently. Like, what did you feel after this movie was over?
I felt very sad, like very drained, like
Yeah.
emotionally drained. Like I haven't gone through what this girl has gone through in the movie, but like I haven't experienced the actual experience that she went through in order to be placed in the position that she's in. But I just felt so freaking empty and sad. Like at the end of the movie, I was like, "Fuck, what happened?"
Yeah. And that,
It took the life out of me.
and that goes to the conversation about this movie also handles deeper themes and it's about trying to find answers and like just loneliness, and loneliness is just so sad and horrific in itself, and if it was actually marketed as like a horror film, it probably would be seen a lot more. I think people might steer away from it from that whole psychological thriller aspect because they don't know what they're in for. But like I
think
said,
so, because this movie didn't gross a lot of money, and we didn't even talk about how much money it made. But
did it even get a theatrical release?
I don't know if it did, but it only brought in like 38,000. I think it was
So,
worth mentioning.
if it brought in money, it got a release.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Oh god.
I released you.
Yeah, so it was released. It was at the Toronto International Film Festival in September of 2015. Oh my gosh, but it didn't get released in the United States until 2017.
Released in Canada or where?
No, it just circulated the film festivals for a while.
I see.
Oh, it was pushed back in 2016 and then had a limited release in September of 2016. And then it was pulled from the schedule entirely and then released on February 16th, 2017 through DirecTV Cinema. Oh, so it was released in February. That's funny. So on Netflix UK, it was released under the title February, and it was also released on February 16th, 2017 through DirecTV Cinema. So DirecTV Cinema is a video on demand pay-per-view platform. So I wonder if that's where
That's
the
how it made money.
the
Yeah.
38,000 came
for sure.
from. Interesting. All right.
Totally a birthday release.
What do you mean?
It was his birthday, February 2nd. Like, he's totally like, I'm going to release it on my birthday month.
Well, hey, I guess this is probably a good enough time as ever to just get into it, huh?
Let's do it.
Should we?
Let's put on our black coats and get the hell on.
Let's go be daughters of darkness.
Which I didn't really understand the title, but
Well, there's a
Okay.
song, right? The BLACKCOAT'S Daughter.
what's his name? The brother? Did he make that song?
He did the song that she sings at the recital,
Yeah,
which I also have questions about.
but also composed the music for this film. So
Yeah,
did he
he-
create that song for the end?
Oh, well, let's check it out because I'm not entirely sure.
Because the words are kind of silly.
Diddle dumb, whatever.
Yeah, diddle dee diddle dumb, the Black Coat's Daughter.
I found the In the Garden lyrics. The In the Garden lyrics are good. I don't know. But either way, yeah, let's talk about the Black Coat's Daughter. The Black Coat's Daughter goes like this.
When you meet these people, do you say that she was murdered? Do you say that they had to do a blood test to see if her head matched the body?
Hey, Dad, just calling to see where you and Mom are, if you're coming.
Worst case, they come on Friday and everyone goes home and has a really nice break. After all, we can't let you live here.
You do know about the sisters, don't you? They worship the devil.
Catherine, is there something wrong?
Why are you doing this?
Do you believe in God, Joan? Ever tried to look for him? I look for him in the unlikely things that happen. Little coincidences.
Diddle, diddle, black coat's daughter, what was in the holy water? Gone to bed on unclean head, the angels they forgot her.
There's something funny. You smiled a little.
Funny? No. I mean, I just wish you could stay and see my performance. That's all.
We begin within a dream sequence. At least I think.
Yeah, really.
I think, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Keirnan Shipka is Catherine, or Cat, is what we call her throughout the film.
So that kind of confused me.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are calling her Catherine when they seem like they're mad at her or
Mhm.
concerned about her.
Yeah, really.
But I think we start off as Cat.
Yeah.
But we know her as Cat. Anyway, I'm hyper focusing on this.
Now you're confusing everybody
We're
else.
calling Keirnan Cat. She awakes to a figure above her, calling him Daddy. She says, "You came early." She's then in a snow-filled bank of sorts where she is walking along this daddy figure who is in like a cloak or coat or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Like he's in like a heavy coat. There has been a bloody car accident, and then she calls for her mommy. And then she wakes up again. She's been marking days off of this calendar. We're in the month of February, holla, which is also funny because this movie was originally called February
February.
in the UK or whatever. You know, this whole February thing is just out of control. I can't. So yeah, mom and dad are supposed to pick her up on the 22nd. This is vital information.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say about this opening?
Pay attention.
Yes, that's really it. Like, I was telling Alex last night while we were taking notes, like, I don't know how to take notes on this movie. Like, it's hard when there's a movie that we're watching that I'm just like, I love this movie so much. I just want to watch it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was last night too, and it was really hard for me to like I just couldn't. I could not take notes and watch the fucking movie, and I was like, mentally I'm taking notes. I know I can do it mentally. I know I can, but I'm like, I cannot fucking do this mentally. Like, I'm gonna forget every fucking single thing because every part is so good.
Yeah.
You're filling your head in with every single part and you're forgetting everything else.
Yeah, and it's weird because I want to write a good plot description, which again, I write these. Like, Alex knows, like, I think I mentioned it in a couple episodes before. I write these plot synopsises or breakdowns or whatever for everybody's entertainment. Whether
there's no Wikipedia.
Whether you think they're good or not. And we do get some information from Wikipedia as far as like the people under the stairs stuff goes. But these are like my little babies. I was more concerned about like getting this appropriate last night as opposed to like my actual thoughts on the movie, because all I could really muster out on most occasions was like, this is chilling. I just think that this movie is just so fucking scary.
Yeah.
You know? So what's her name? Oh, Kat. Yeah. Kat goes to Father Brian. He tells her that, we should say who Father Brian is played by because we didn't mention him.
No, and I guess he's important because he's in the opening of the movie and the fucking end of the movie, I guess.
I think that, well, yeah, and he is someone who is...
Major part?
I would say he's important. I wouldn't say he's a major part.
Okay.
But she has some sort of like, she needs him for something, right? And that's what I was asking you, like, do you get some weird like abuse vibe from him? Like, do you feel like that there's a weird relationship with him? But then I guess as the movie is broken down and you realize what exactly she's looking at in the corner of her eye and stuff, like, I guess it makes more sense.
That freaks me out.
But we'll get to that. His name is Greg Elwand. That is who plays Father Brian. So she goes to visit him in his office. He tells her that he is leaving to Albany and will not be seeing her performance this afternoon. She keeps looking to off the corner, which is what I was just talking about, and she is kind of giving this little smirk. When he asks her if there is something funny, she says no. And that was my note. What is their relationship, do you think? Like, do you think that we don't really get the vibe or the idea that she was ever really close to her parents? So, spoiler, her parents don't make it to pick her up. And that's like the big concern here, is that she is going to be stranded here at this big school over the spring break, the winter break, whatever this is.
It's kind of one of those vacationing parents. Like, they're just gone all the time.
Something like that. And like the phone calls that she has, like when she's like calling to leave voicemails or voice messages or whatever.
Are they really phone calls to the parents? Or this black coat?
We've the black coat. We find out, well, maybe that's what the black coat is. The black coat is the demon.
Because it's just the muffled man's voice that answers her phone
later
calls.
on. Yeah. But I think that there is one scene that we'll get to where she is actually leaving a voice message.
Oh, Alex, wait.
Do you think that he is like actually a father figure to her based on the conversation they're having? Like, she seems genuinely upset that he is not going to be at her performance.
I feel like it's the closest thing to a parent figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily a father, but just both mom and dad.
I guess you're right.
Parent figure.
Yeah.
An adult.
Okay. Touche. So enter Rose. And this is a character played by Lucy Boynton, who is British. I was never really familiar with her. My friend Kelsey, who you know from class, she had loaned me this movie and a vinyl to go with it called Sing Street. And she is in that movie. And she played an addict in Netflix's Gypsy.
Oh, I was just about to press play on that earlier, before Russian Doll.
Yeah, that has Naomi Watts in it.
That's fucking cool.
And I didn't know that existed, but that was like apparently a 10-episode show that was released in 2017. Hey, you know what? Let's do this whole 6 degrees of Naomi Watts, because we are watching Feud season 2, and she is fucking killing it on that show. And we love Children of the Corn 4. Okay, that's
Coming up.
That's the end of that. Yeah, we still have some fun Children of the Corn 4 blah 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 for all y'all. That'll be soon though. So yeah, where were we? Oh yeah, I just wanted to point out that Lucy Boynton is okay. She is the least of my concerns in this movie. Like
Yeah.
I think I wrote a note later on in my notes that this whole movie could have been about Kat and Joan, and I would have been fine.
Honestly, she's filler.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily need her.
Nothing but a bridge or a segue.
Yeah, but I understand. You know what I mean? I understand why she's here, and I like obviously there would be less of a film if she wasn't here. We'll get to it, I suppose. Rose is getting her school photo taken in a super slow motion throwback to the 90s kind of moment. She is then faking a sickness to get out of going home for the upcoming winter break.
But we all know that she's pregnant.
And that would be because homegirl is under the impression that she is pregnant.
Yeah, and this is where the abuse comes in, because who's she pregnant by?
Well, what do you mean? She's pregnant by her boyfriend. Oh. I was like, oh my God. Have we talked about the Magdalene sisters?
I don't think so.
We need to watch it.
Madame Magdalene?
No, girl.
Okay. It just sounded like a Madame Magdalene.
That's a horror movie. Oh my goodness. So the two nurses, or the two sisters actually, is that what they are? They're sisters.
Miss Prescott and that other chick? Yeah, they're sisters. They're nuns.
What is the other lady?
I'm not sure, dude. I didn't get her name.
Mrs. Who? Mrs. Hee. Mrs. Drake. Miss Drake.
Oh, yeah, Miss Drake.
So it's Ms. Prescott and Ms. Drake. We should be clear because they are not married.
They are not married. Or they're married. They're married to Jesus.
They're married to Jesus. Maybe
Prescott, I mean.
What is with their clothes, by the way? This isn't a period piece, right?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe in the first part or so, it could be considered a period piece because we find out that there's a jump of sorts later on.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I get it.
Anyway, yeah, there are these two sisters or nurses, whatever they are, in
they're nuns.
Particular moment of the movie, and they are there to
babysit these girls, if you will.
Yeah, because
the parents are not picking them up.
Oh, well, yeah, we haven't gotten there yet, but that's basically what's happening. Yeah. So Rose talks to her friend about how she could potentially be pregnant and how she should probably tell her boyfriend. She accepts some of the responsibility and decides that she will tell him. And then Kat goes to the road and stares because Kat knows that something is wrong. Kat knows, like, based upon the dream that she had, that something happened to her parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we know that too as the viewers, that her parents are probably dead because of a car accident.
But we
never
see it.
No, we never do see it.
That's why this movie throws you off, because it just starts like that. Like that conversation with her and the father is already like, what is she looking at?
Yeah. And like Keirnan does like so much of the acting with her eyes in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had said, like she's really quiet. And so we're basing a lot of what we are getting off of her facial expressions.
You have to read her face.
Yeah. And it takes a lot from an actor to be able to do what it is that she does. And I learned from her in this most recent rewatch that there are parts where while she's possessed, that there are tears coming down her face.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the most fucking insane thing to see.
You say like it was so fucking frightening. You're like, well, so fucking.
It was like, because you see that fighting with him, but at the same time, you find out at the end that like that might not have been the case either. So anyway, I'm jumping. Oh no. Okay. That was my note though, that Keirnan, just the way that she delivers this performance is really, really underrated.
See, and that for me, because in the beginning of the movie, when she does that and she's talking to the priest, and then she looks and she does that smirk, you know, the side smirk, because I saw this movie after seeing Sabrina, after watching what was the movie, that other one, the recent one?
Totally Killer.
I know her as that character. So when she kind of did that side smirk, I was expecting something else as opposed to what was delivered, you know, throughout the movie. I was like, what is she smiling at? That's so her character, you know, to honestly just be smiling at that, because then she cleans it up with, she wanted to wish him a good time in Albany.
Yeah.
She's like, I was just trying to think of how to say have a good day or have a good time in Albany. It was just weird to see this character now as opposed to back then, and then Sabrina, watching her how she acts now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is I just can't get over that it's beforehand. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That this is something that happened beforehand. Oh, by the way, I found the lyrics to the Blackcoat's Daughter that you were asking
Oh,
about.
let's go.
Deedle deedle, Blackcoat's daughter, what was in the holy water, gone to bed on an unclean head, the angels, they forgot her.
That's so scary.
That is horrifying.
Yeah.
And that's what the movie opens with, by the way.
And that's probably like some type of prayer. Ugh.
I don't even know, but the way that it's sung as well is also really creepy. This movie is filled with like a bunch of like creepy organy type of music.
Mhm.
Like it's kind of insane because it just reminds me of, you had mentioned a couple of episodes ago the Edward Scissorhands stuff, the woman playing the organ in
Yes.
Edward Scissorhands. And I always thought that was kind of interesting
Mhm.
because this reminds me too of that.
That's that beat. Oh, and I told you that sounds like Justin Timberlake's new song.
What does?
The way that lady plays that organ.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Oh, that's what you
I'm
had
like, why
mentioned
does it sound like when the part in Edward Scissorhands when the lady's playing the keyboard and he does that design of the devil on the plant and he's
Yeah.
facing the
So
window.
did you mention that to me in an episode recently? Or
No,
was
it was
that...
in the kitchen while I was cooking.
Oh
and
my God.
The song was on.
That's fucking hilarious. Okay, so Rose goes to the pre-break talent show that they're having, which I don't understand. Did you catch why they're having this performance?
I think it's like a winter show.
So they're going to have this show and then everybody goes on break?
Yeah, it's kind of like what happens. That's the traditional type of thing. They have like winter performances and then everybody goes off to break.
I think that that's fucking silly.
Well, that's like in every school. Wasn't it like winter performances and shit like that?
No.
What?
No, I mean, we had a talent show at the end of the year every year.
Recitals and shit like that?
I mean, well, I guess so.
Yeah. Christmas talent shows and all that.
Yeah, I guess so. At this talent show, Kat is performing a creepy song. And the song is fucking creepy, dude. Fucking creepy. It was written by Elvis Perkins.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about earlier as well. And these lyrics are...
It's Britney Spears. I want you to come over.
The way
this
that-
is her performing, playing the piano and singing this song, which I was shocked when I first saw this. I didn't expect it to be her playing the piano or even her as a character on stage up until they put the camera in front of her face.
Oh, yeah. And it's all her. Like, she's a little triple threat, man. Homegirl can sing. She can act. Like,
She dance?
I don't know what the triple is. Yeah.
Has she done dancing?
We're not sure yet. I don't know, actually.
Let's go,
But
Keirnan.
he's going to be a tornado chaser, so maybe that's her triple threat.
She'll be dancing with the tornadoes.
Get it. So she notices that her parents still haven't made it by the 2 empty seats in the audience. Did you catch that? That
Yes.
she's like, she's so concerned about her parents. And at this point, she still has not been able to get a hold of them. She continues singing, though, because she is a trooper. And then we cut to the office and we have the principal, whose name is Mr. Gordon, who is played by Peter James Hayworth. And he's like the headmaster, actually, the headmaster of the school, not the principal. I guess there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference then?
Excuse me?
You agreed with me.
Well, the
What's
headmaster is the headmaster, obviously, and the principal, well, he's just the principal.
He's the
That's the
master
difference.
of getting head.
Whoa.
Mm.
And the other principal, he's just
The principal of principals.
principals.
So yeah, Mr. Gordon is trying to get a hold of Kat's parents. They are unable. And I thought that this was kind of a downer of a little part. Like, she doesn't have a cell phone. She was going to get one for her birthday. Just like this look of just sheer terror on her face because she knows that she can't go anywhere and she's stuck here. And I mean, how would you feel just to be isolated in this giant boarding school with nobody except these 2 scary nun ladies?
Absolutely not.
And then this bitch who doesn't want anything to do with you. Like, it's made very clear that Rose does not want to look after her, even though she is asked to. Like, she is there because she is... Oh, what is happening with her parents? Like, she had lied to her parents, right? Yeah, she lied to her parents saying that break was not until a different day.
Yeah,
or something.
That
Okay,
it's a different date.
Yeah.
She didn't want them to pick her up.
Oh,
she didn't
God.
want her parents to pick her up. That's why she couldn't take her cat because she really wasn't going home.
Well, Well, that and she was preoccupied with the pregnancy stuff. But she was staying. She was staying there too, which is why they asked her to look after her.
Yeah.
But I just don't think she wanted to.
Oh, I see. But that's what it was. So she lied to her parents about picking her up on a different day so that she wouldn't be seen pregnant.
Yeah, like just in case, because
Yeah.
like this girl is convinced that since she's missed her period, that she is with child. Also the weather stuff that's going on. There's a lot of bad weather here right now.
Yeah.
We're on like typhoon warning.
I think we're at the end of it, but it doesn't stop.
It's pouring down rain right now.
Wow.
I just had to remove my headphones to hear it, but it's bad. It's been like typhoon weather. Like we just missed it in San Diego,
Mm-hmm.
and then we came directly into it when we got back. It's so wild. But in this movie, it's all snow. It's like The Shining.
Yeah. It really does have like a feeling of just solace and being alone
Yeah.
in the snow.
Very Kubricky. Also, it's kind of funny how the headmaster maybe doesn't believe Rose when she is telling him the story about how her parents kind of forgot or whatever, just whatever story she gives about her parents, but he still does not care enough to let it interfere with his own leaving.
Yeah.
Like he's just going to book it anyway. And then when he says, after all, we can't let you live here.
No, that's kind of weird.
Well, where the fuck else are they going to go?
Like, I know. Where the fuck are they going to go? They're absolutely going to live there.
Don't they pay tuition?
Hello?
That is probably one expensive ass boarding school, Bramford School.
Isn't there rooms and beds?
Well, they have dorms. God damn. Like, but honestly, I cannot get over Kat's face this whole time. And throughout the rest of the movie, honestly, because this poor little girl is just fucking stuck at school with this little bitch and all these crazy old nuns. Well, these two, well, they're not crazy. So yeah, she calls dad, leaves a voice message.
The way that she's talking and the way that everything is just so slow and low, like,
yeah,
she just gives this feeling.
Like when she sets the table and like the spoon is at an angle and then she fixes the spoon, but she like focuses on the spoon for a good moment. And then she like kind of tilts it to where it's like an actual like placement setting. It's just little creepy things that she's doing throughout the first half.
And she's already possessed, right?
I think so.
Well, since that meeting when she looked away, I think she was already smirking.
She was already smirking at that demon, the black coat, if you will. Yeah. I think he started in the dream. Yeah, I think that's where like this all began. So later that evening, Rose ditches Kat to go hang with her boyfriend, but not before being an asshole and telling Kat that the sisters are actually witches. That that they're wearing wigs, that there's no hair on their bodies. Sounds like witches to me. And then she says, like, go ask Jen Darling. And this was the time when the first time I watched it where I noticed her telling her about the burnt eyebrows, where she says, pay attention to that.
Pay attention to their eyebrows.
Yeah, because they're all fake. They got burnt off or something like that.
By the furnace.
Yeah, and that's where I was like, oh, fuck. That's because of what goes down in the furnace room later with Keirnan. Like, we'll see. Yeah. And I like Rose's delivery of, don't come in my room, okay? And don't touch my shit.
My shit, yeah. It's pretty dope. What does she do? She goes into her fucking room.
Right in there and touches all of her things. Just like she was told not to. And the way the music just fucking like settles.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And then she like picks up her yearbook photo and like adores it.
Yeah.
Also, just at the very beginning of the movie is when her yearbook photo was taken. So did they get the yearbook photo back that same fucking day? In what world did you get your yearbook photos processed the same day?
You're right.
If I have one gripe about this movie, it is that. That is the only unrealistic thing.
That's fucking weird.
So the phone rings, which is a payphone in the hallway. And I guess it's like a community phone or something. And Kat goes out in the hallway to answer it. And then we cut to black.
I didn't appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. But see, this is what I love.
What happened?
Because it wants you to pay attention. And this is telling you like, yo, you're in for a ride. We are not going to be providing any answers. And whatever you think you are watching, you're not.
Oh, I get it. This is me sniffing the coffee after going wine tasting. This is the black screen clearing my mind because it's like, you're going to get ready for a ride, babe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was funny. I was like, what? Did you just speak English?
Yeah.
We're now meeting Joan, who is played by Emma Roberts. And we're doing this in parts now. So this last part was about Rose. This part is about Joan. We're eventually going to get title cards. We have not gotten a title card yet. So Emma or whatever, Joan,
Well, yeah.
whatever the fuck her name is. Fuck out, bitch.
Emma Joan.
She gets off a bus at a station, and through flashbacks, we see that she's been through some hospital-related shit. She removes a bracelet, and that only confirms it. Joan tries to call someone, but the number has been disconnected. We don't know who she's trying to call. She finds a map. On the map, she locates Bramford.
Yeah.
And then the way that like the camera focuses more so on Portsmouth, you're like, wait, like who is this girl? Like we don't know like who she is, like
Yeah.
what
Like,
she's doing here. We've been focusing on two other girls for a few minutes now.
yeah, the way Emma's presented as, or comes in her character is kind of like, okay, here we go with a whole nother movie.
Yeah, like it kind of splits off and does like a David Lynchy type of thing, which I totally respect, and that's like my kind of thing. I'm not mad at it
For every reason, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it makes sense eventually. So she waits outside and is approached by an older gentleman, Bill, played by James Remar, who is super nice. He offers her a ride and basically says that he will take her as far as she wants to go, which is Portsmouth. He introduces her to his wife, who is played by none other than Lauren Holly. You know Lauren Holly,
She
right?
looks fucking great.
She looks
so good.
really good.
She looks way better than what her character like is supposed to be. I think her character
Amazing.
sounds older than who like what she really looks like.
I loved her in Beautiful Girls.
Mhm.
Did you ever see that movie Beautiful Girls?
I don't
It had
think
like
so.
that big cast.
I do know which one you're talking about, but
Rosie
I haven't watched it.
O'Donnell
Uh-huh.
and Mira Sorvino and Matt Dillon. It had a whole bunch of people, but I loved her in that. But I always thought she was really pretty. She was in Dumb and Dumber.
She is beautiful.
Yeah, she was so pretty. And she's really good here. She doesn't get like quite a lot to do, but what she does do is really, really, it's fucking good.
Mhm.
Like I think the parent characters here work really well together too. The chemistry that they don't have and the time that they don't spend on screen together just works perfectly well for what is happening here.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get on their way. But let's be clear, Lauren Holly is not a very friendly lady, and she does not want Joan in the car.
She does not, and she makes it very clear.
Yeah, so there are roses in the back seat. As they drive away, we see the bumper sticker that reads, "The driver is the proud parent of a Bramford student." So there are little tiny things that are starting to like click here. So they are obviously the parents of a Bramford student who we don't know. They are taking roses somewhere. They don't seem like they're getting along. Something is aloof.
Yeah.
You know,
you
something
could sense the chemistry is not connected between them.
something is afoot at Brantford. Is it Brantford or Bramford? What am I calling it?
Bramford.
Are we? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Bramford. Yeah, you're right. I'm calling it like one or the other. I can't figure it out.
Branchford.
Yeah, fucking A. So, yeah, meanwhile, back at Branford, Rose is dropped off at her dorm. Boyfriend doesn't seem thrilled about the baby stuff, but at least he offers to go with her to the appointment. It seems that she's the one that made the decision.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm gathering?
Kind of.
That whether she's pregnant or not, that she's probably going to have an abortion?
I think so, yeah. That's what she's aiming for.
Yeah, and judging by the way that she retaliates with, "Be careful, okay, sure." It's like, wait, so how did you want this conversation to go? Because earlier, it sounded like you were like nervous to tell him, you didn't want to tell him, but you also had to tell him. And now it sounds like you were probably the one that presented the idea of the termination to him, and now you're mad that he's in agreement.
Oh, is she sure even that this is his kid?
Well, it sounds like that might be the case, that she is probably certain that it is his kid, but I don't even think she realizes if she's pregnant or not.
I think she's pregnant by Satan.
You're so funny. That'd be a totally different film.
I think she's pregnant by him.
It's an interesting and touchy subject. Like abortion is, I'm not educated enough. All I know is that I'm not a woman.
Mhm.
And I don't know anything about women's bodies. And all I know is that, you know, like you should be able to do what you want. You know what I mean? So
This movie connects so different to me. It's like, I feel like she's pregnant by Satan because it's like this school, like I don't know why.
Wait, you're being serious?
Yeah, I
Oh,
really am
that's so
being
funny.
serious.
I
Like, I
didn't
feel like
think you were being serious.
she's not pregnant by her boyfriend. She's pregnant by Satan because all of a sudden she's pregnant.
Is that because we were watching Rosemary's Baby?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the school alone is like going, like I said, like if you look at the girls in the background, they all seem like the same sad character. And there's something going on in this school. And maybe it is abuse now that you say it. Like maybe it was just like hidden in a metaphorical type of way, the abuse, to where these girls are left behind by their parents at the school and they get abused by these fathers, priests, whoever's in there. And then they look at them now like parent and the only closest thing that they have figures, you know, and when it stops, like the abuse stops, like they kind of miss it. And I feel like that's kind of like my head's like spinning right now. And I'm just like, is that what the fucking movie is about? Like metaphorically, the movie was created to like make us realize that this is happening.
I mean, people interpret things in so many different ways.
Because then it's like, why is Kiernan or like why is her character so invested in oh fuck, what's her name? Rose's character. Like why is she so, you know, going through her stuff in her room and like because
I mean, that could also be like a queer reading too. Like she could also be like obsessed with her, like possession aside. Like she could also be like attracted to her.
if
She could
Kat's
also
parents died and now she's like lonely, like a newly presented depression, then the devil's going to take attention to that as opposed to getting this girl pregnant that can have her child that he can manipulate into whatever he wants to. And now
Wait,
he's
so
doing
are
it.
you contradicting your own point?
I am. Still like kind of like coincides with my
No, I like where you're going with that though. It just sounds like it like
you did that to me because you put the word abuse in my head now and that's just like, oh shit.
well,
is this
every
what the
time
movie's
that I
actually like?
watch this movie, I always am just like thrown off by the original initial interaction between Father Brian and
Yeah, I understand that. It's kind of like clicking. This is
And
what's going
Kat,
on in my
that's
head
her
right
name.
now. It's spinning.
because like just the way she's like, oh, I just wish you were here to see the performance. Oh, I wish
You
you were
know?
here to, I wish you were here. I wish you weren't leaving. Like she seems like legitimately upset.
When somebody's groomed by an abuser,
That's what I mean.
you know, like this is kind of like the feeling that she's giving is that she wants her groomer there because it's the only thing she has.
100%.
You know, that makes her feel safe
That's
and comfortable.
exactly where I was going.
So a groomer.
Yeah. Rose finds the dorm very, very quiet because remember, nobody else is there except she and Kat. And Kat is not in her bed. As Rose preps for bed herself, she can hear noises and voices from the basement, such as, sounds good. That horrified me.
The voices, yeah.
Yeah, because we watch movies with captions in this household.
Yes, we do.
And I don't think I've ever watched this movie with captions. And when I hear what she's saying, just the simple little sounds good, it's like, holy fucking shit. Like, it's just little stuff like that, man. I keep saying little stuff like that, but that's my notes. Little stuff. Little stuff. Chilling.
And what is she saying sounds good to?
Because earlier, the headmaster, he wants to hear that repeated back to him when he is having conversations with his students.
Okay.
So he's like, sound good? That's a confirmation.
Mhm.
Sounds good? Sounds good? And then when he says, like, you can't just live here. Remember that. Because later on, she says, oh, he told me I can live here now.
Yeah. Tells the nuns, right?
Yeah. And so that's also something that I had like a couple questions about too, because she says that she had a conversation with him later, and this is possessed Kat.
Yeah.
But then he does show up. So like,
well, the phone rings, right? And
yeah.
They're like, they tell Rose to go shovel the snow to the earth.
Yeah.
Because the headmaster's coming over.
Yeah, it's written kind of funny, but it's weird and spooky. But did he come back? Like, why did he come back specifically for her?
That's what I'm saying, because it's new depression. Like her parents just died. So she's vulnerable. You know,
I don't know.
There's an open door.
You need to watch The Perfection.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I know. There was like some stuff in this movie that kind of reminded me of some things that I saw in The Perfection.
No.
Well. And if you guys haven't seen The Perfection, also recommend that one as well. And I'm not saying that this movie is about abuse. Like,
literally what I kind of like captioned together in my own head.
Yeah, like this movie has nothing to do with abuse as far as my eye actually sees and as far as Alex can see as well. I think it's just about like what you get out of it. And like if you blast it up and bleed it out enough, you can kind of make anything what your mind like makes it to be. If
There
that
is
makes
no,
any sense.
there is like no official end to the movie. It is what you make it as an audience member, I think. Like
Yeah.
everybody's point of view at the end of the movie is different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I also wanted to give Lucy Boynton a little bit of credit here too, because when she goes on her little investigative journey through like this big giant fucking school trying to find out where Kat is, I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of scary and good, because the camera's like on her back a lot, like it's from behind, and you're just experiencing like the width of these halls and just like how big this building actually is. Like this place goes on for fucking floors and floors. And who knows how long this place has actually been here. You know, there's like corridors and like, what the fuck?
It's another character in the movie.
It really is. Like, and even on the poster with the two faces, like,
Oh yeah, you're
opposite,
right.
the school is in the middle
corridor of the school.
of
Right.
the, oh, it's so wild.
That's a thing then. The school does have something to do with it. Like there's something going on in that school.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the school if we end up right where we're about to end up. I mean, she ends up in the boiler room of sorts. So we're in the heart of the building, I guess you could say, because the basement is like the
Mhm.
foundation, right?
Yeah.
So she looks in through the small window in the door, and what does she see?
She sees Kat bowing down and praising kind of like Satan.
Yeah, but like it's like,
It's the furnace.
and it's lit,
Uh-huh.
and it's like she's worshiping it. You're right, like she's groveling, and it's in like this weird motion of sorts. Like
It's
like
a scary motion.
it's one of those weird choppy motions. It's the most fucking like, I'm just baffled because you've seen it a million times. It's stuff like this you've seen a million times, or at least you think you have.
You know, the way she's flipping forward, back and forth like that. It's kind of like Reagan in bed,
Yeah, yeah.
but in a knelt down position.
But what I mean is, like, you think you've seen it a million times, but like this is just, it's unlike the way you've seen it before.
And it's just a shadow of her. It's not even her. Am I right? Like, did I just see like a silhouette or like a shadow of a person like kneeling down and up? Because the fire's so intense, of course, in the room that you would only see a silhouette.
And it's not even the fire is so intense. You only see the fire from like the little windows
lining.
of the furnace, you know? Like, I don't know how to describe this scene outside of the fact that it's just like, there's something so eerily, it's just, there's a word for it, you know, but it's just like there's like a sheer horror in this scene alone, and just like the look on Rose's face as she sees what she's seeing, because it's like, first off, this is kind of like the idea you gave her just a little bit ago when you were telling her that the sisters are burning off their
Yeah.
eyebrows, fucking worshiping Satan in the fucking basement.
Yeah,
The gist of it, when it comes down
that's
to
what
it.
I understood. And that's why I think she's down there. That's exactly why I think she went down there.
Like, how else would she have known to go to the furnace?
Yeah.
You know, like if this girl wouldn't have given her the idea. It's just fucking weird. And this is where we end up getting the Joan title card, because we cut to black and now we are in Joan's story, I suppose. Like, we've already met Emma Roberts, but the movie wants us to be in the Joan chapter, I guess. So here we are. We wake up in a hotel room. Not we, she. She wakes up in a hotel room and examines a bullet wound in her shoulder. And then we get another flashback while she's taking a shower, and we see Father Brian in the flashback. These flashbacks are brief, but we're getting little pieces to the puzzle. So we can kind of assume that she's associated with Father Brian. She has some sort of association with Bramford, right? Like, if she knows Father Brian, or
Yeah.
maybe he had associated with her like during his Albany trip. Who knows? But
Maybe he's had an association with his demon.
that too, and maybe she is the demon.
Well, yeah, that's
But
the
we don't
point.
know anything at this point if there's a, well, yeah, maybe we do know that there's like something possessy going on.
Yeah.
Because we just saw her bowing down at the furnace.
Yep.
But that could just be like fucking weird. You know, that could just be like, what the fuck is this girl doing? Like, if
Yeah,
you
really.
woke up and I was not in the apartment and you traveled all the way down to the laundry room and saw me like fucking bowing down at the water heater.
I would grab my shit so fast and be out this motherfucker.
See, and this is not what happens here.
Yeah, really.
So we're in this hotel room and Bill knocks on what's her face's door, on Joan's door, and she allows him in. And this is kind of weird for me because she's not even dressed. She's just in a towel. She doesn't even bother dressing herself. She is just wrapped up in a towel. And there's also something weird with him, right? Like, he's got this weird
There's something weird going on between both of them. It didn't really mesh with me, or like, like I didn't get it. I didn't understand what was happening like between both of them.
I didn't either. And the way that he just makes himself comfortable across from her while she's incredibly vulnerable
Yeah.
and naked and
It's like,
stuff.
do you guys have history or not? Or
And it's
what is
like,
happening?
does he know and she doesn't?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
kind
that's
of,
exactly what threw me out. One of them knew.
I feel like that at this point that she had escaped from the hospital and they were her parents and they like she had some sort of like memory problem. That's where I thought it was going to go, but it does not go that way.
No.
So he like gives her a rule because she keeps apologizing. She keeps saying like I'm sorry and he's like no apologizing, young lady.
Yeah, you're there's a rule. You're not supposed to apologize me, or you don't apologize me.
Yeah, and then he gives her the God talk. Like he starts asking her if she believes in God, and she gets incredibly uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, because he also says like he saw God in her.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he's like, I saw God in you when I first saw you.
Yeah, and it's an incredibly awkward conversation. And the way that she's reacting to this, like her jaw is clenching, and you can kind of see like her throat like throbbing a little bit. Like
Yeah.
she's not reacting very well, and she's so tense. And she also starts having more flashbacks of being in a bathtub.
Well, I believe that he's confirming to her that she's like being cleansed, that there is no demon in her.
But how would he know about a demon?
I don't know, because
Like,
his own daughter.
He doesn't know anything about her. This is all chance.
Did they explain Rose yet? Like the
No, not yet. And like we're about to though. He then tells her that he's going to Bramford though, and then that's when she's like, "Whoa." And then she's like, "Wait, when do we leave?" When he mentions Bramford, her eyes light up, and then she's like genuinely excited to be traveling with them, but in like a very
Yeah.
quiet, what the fuck? What kind of coincidence is this type
Yeah.
of thing? And when he leaves, you can see her turn her head, but we can't tell if she's either laughing or if she's crying.
Yeah.
It's kind of eerie. And then back at the dorm, Rose is berating Catherine or Kat for being down in the bowels of the school, asking her if she was sleepwalking, to which Kat just agrees. The whole interaction between them from this point until she leaves the room is so fucking just ugh. It just makes my skin crawl.
When she's like, you had your chance.
Yeah.
That's so, what the fuck does that mean? Is she gonna kill her?
Well, the look in Kat's eyes, like they're all glossy and her lips are pulled back. Like she just looks different. Like whatever happened in that boiler room, like it changed her.
I'm telling you, her eyes were like bright-eyed and like just scary looking. I'm telling you, she frightened me.
And like there's just like an emptiness within her now. And when
there it is, the emptiness is what's haunting.
Yeah, and when Rose says, "Can I get you anything else?" and then she says, "No, you had your chance." The look on her face, like the look on both of their faces.
Well, the way she says it, because then the way Rose looks back at her, is like the freaky part. She's like, "Did this bitch just threaten me?"
Well, Kat also says to her, like, "Hey, I know my parents are dead." Because Rose is like, "Don't worry, your parents will be here." And Kat's like, "My parents are dead."
My parents are dead.
And then she's like, "You were supposed to look after me tonight. Why haven't you helped me?" So that's what she means. Like, you had your chance. Like,
oh,
to help
I
me
see.
do this. And I think this is right before she slips into pretty much almost full possession mode.
What an asshole.
Yeah, because right after this, Rose goes to her room and blocks herself in. And then Kat, while she's under her sheets, begins to like contort and like bend.
Yeah.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
Ooh, that part was scary.
And it was just quick, so I like that. I appreciated the quickness of that possession of the part.
And again, yeah, like you just see like her eyes get kind of big from under the sheets and like her mouth kind of start to like open like she's in some sort of pain, and then like her like entire upper torso just flips backwards.
Yeah, that was super cool.
It's really, really fucking well done. So at the hotel, Joan meets Bill for dinner and explains to Joan that she reminds him of his daughter that he lost 9 years ago. That's where they're headed, actually, to Bramford to lay flowers for her anniversary. He shows her a picture from his wallet. Alex, what's the picture of?
It's fucking Rose, you guys.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, Joan goes to the bathroom and laughs a little to herself in the stall because, again, this is a coincidence for some reason or another in her head, and we don't know yet. This is just like we as viewers are like, wait a second. So We're 9 years in the future in this storyline. So the Joan storyline is not in the same timeline as whatever is happening with Kat and Rose. And we now know that Rose is dead.
Yeah, but the movie is just playing along like you never realize that you're watching 2 times. I think because they didn't filter them, they didn't change the lighting, they didn't add no different sepia filter and
very
like that.
good storytelling. Just the filmmaking is
Yeah.
top notch. So in the car, Miss Lauren Holly gives a monologue that I just need to fucking steal and make my own for acting class because it's so fucking good. And it's about Rose and how Joan looks nothing like her. And this is such a fucking scene. Like, Lauren Holly delivers so fucking hard right here, and the camera doesn't leave her for 1 fucking second. And it's like, this is the Lauren Holly moment. I don't think that this movie, especially for 2015, like, none of these were like big stars. I think that Emma Roberts was probably like the grab here. You know what I mean? And then probably Lauren Holly. Like, Lauren Holly was probably like the movie star here. And
Absolutely.
this was like her moment. So the monologue she gives, guys, man, oh man. It's really, it's gotta be hard to be a parent who loses a child.
I think so. And then to have to deal with one parent that's still in denial, you know.
Yeah. And then we find out that's kind of where the father character is. Like, Bill is not... He's
the
not
mom's like moved
on.
along,
Yeah, well, she can't move along because how do you move along when the other person is so clearly stuck in the mud?
That's what, like, he's just holding her back.
Yeah.
Like, so bad. And every girl probably reminds him of him, and it's like, it's not her.
Well, that's what she says. She says to her, like, let me guess.
Yeah.
He said you look like her. Let me tell you, you fucking don't, bitch.
She really does. Get out my car.
Get out my car. Fuck out, bitch. Fuck out, bitch. We're going to call this episode Fuck Out, Bitch. So Rose wakes up. Oh, and let's be clear. We're in the past now. Because now we know Rose is dead.
Yes.
We're right on top of that, Rose.
Fuck out, bitch.
She goes out into the hallway to see Kat ending a phone call on the payphone, saying Mr. Gordon has said she can live with him, but is not able to stay there.
Crazy bitch.
So, going back to the abuse stuff.
Here we go. Hold on to your...
She can live with him, but is not able to stay at the school.
Yeah. Weird.
So, was it the demon calling, or was it Mr. Gordon actually calling her?
The demon calling.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that this girl was getting abused by some of the staff. I don't know why that it reads like that to me, but I think that...
Yeah, I believe so. That's, well, it clicked in my head after, you know, all that, like, listening and all that. I'm like, wait a minute.
And then, I don't know if you caught it, but she keeps saying it, and I know that this is the demon, but she keeps saying to Rose, you smell pretty.
Yeah.
That's like a fucked up...
Thing. Like, why was this demon obsessed with Rose like that?
That's something that, like, a perverted, like, abuser would say to a little girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
What a groomer says to any kid.
The black coat, is the black coat a priest?
The black coat is like, god damn, for reals.
Is the black coat like someone of the organization, like of that, like, of that kind of organization? You know what I mean? Like, is any of that far-fetched? Because I'm just letting my mind run wild with it. I don't want to, like, run with it, but I feel like I'm not making this up, and I can't be the only person that got any of that out of this.
Well, no, but like...
But she would be the Black Coat's daughter. She would be the daughter of that priest who has been grooming her. Then Father Brian, though, is the one that expels the demon at the end of the movie. So he's not the one that's grooming her because he's the one that actually does care about and love her.
No, but he must know something about his coworker back in the days or something about...
Unless he wants to find a way to get the demon out of her to keep her quiet. I don't know. Like, my mind can just go to, like, the fucking far depths and regions of hell and back with shit like this.
In the beginning of the movie, when they're first having that conversation, Kat and the father's asking her questions, like, he knows that he's speaking to somebody else and not Kat. You know, like, he knows that he's asking questions
even
to
at the beginning
else. Yeah, in the beginning of the movie.
You really think so?
Yeah, he's asking questions to something else, not Kat.
Oh,
like, when she's smiling, he's like, what are you smiling at? Like, he's asking her, like, you know, like, you need to respond to me, like, who are you inside, you know, like, in there.
Oh,
and he knows that's what's going
like
on.
That. I never realized that he probably already is on to...
Because did he really ever leave to Albany? How did he come back to do the exorcism again?
I mean, he just came back. I mean, like...
Who called him?
Mr. Gordon came back. They shoveled the snow to the earth.
Yeah.
because of her deep depression.
Let's get there and then
Okay.
let's break it down some
Man.
We're already making
So I know we're fucking just making different movies in our head of what we think happened.
So the abuse.
Yeah. So the girls have breakfast with the sisters, and Kat is staring at Rose's breasts. So the abuse.
Yeah.
When one of the sisters asks her to say grace with the rest of them, and then on her own,
fuck off, bitch.
she starts to scoff and laugh and stuff, and then vomits on herself.
Yeah.
Holy
Here
exorcist.
comes Reagan. Yep. For reals.
I mean, something, if it hasn't completely taken over her, it's obviously gotten aggressively worse and is about to completely take over her, right?
Yeah. Because that was the thing, right? Like, even Joan did that. She was like, can you pull over? I'm going to get sick. And then she barfed before the killing, or that was after?
That is later.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I don't know actually, but I think that that's like a different circumstance because I don't think that Joan is possessed later. I think that Joan is just.
But I think she just meant she just put it in her head now that this is supposed to happen. If I throw up, then
I don't know about that. I think that she's just legitimately possessed in this scene.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course. Yes.
So the sisters try to get Kat to take some medicine, but Kat calls one of them a cunt.
Yeah.
Fuck off, bitch.
It's not Kat's voice.
No, it's not.
It's his voice.
It's one of those like. So say it with me. Say fuck off, cunt.
She says
say fuck up. Say fuck. Say don't touch me, cunt.
Don't touch me, cunt.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I like that.
The cunt is like amplified by like a grovelly like cunt.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up. And they're all like horrified.
That voice is like probably the scariest possessed voice. When it's like, you know, like
oh yeah, it's like
cunt. Yeah.
Kill all the cunts. So, and this is what I mean earlier when I said in this part there are tears coming down her face when her big eyes are just staring at them and like she's like looking at them wide-eyed, and it's like behind that I wonder if she's like scared.
Well, it would be like a lot of fear, guilt, punishment, you know, like all that shit that comes along with it that would make you cry, you know, as a demented soul.
But she's talking about how Mr. Gordon is coming a little more, and there's like this blank sad look on her face, like she just keeps repeating like he's coming.
Yeah.
And the phone rings and the sisters answer it, and they tell Rose to shovel the snow and prepare for Mr. Gordon's arrival.
This is so Children of the Corn. He's coming just kind of sounds like it's the devil that's coming, right?
And that's kind of what I thought. I thought that this wasn't going to be Mr. Gordon, but it's actually Mr. Gordon that comes. He ends up arriving with a policeman, but he can't get into the house of the sisters. And there's a reason for that, because while Rose is shoveling the snow, she hears a loud noise, and then like the music gets really loud, that creepy organ music. And when she goes to open the door, it's locked, and then she can't get back into the house. So she just decides to go back home and nap back to the dorm and get some sleep. This girl's a fucking asshole. Like, I don't understand why she wouldn't be more concerned for Kat. Like, after everything that just happened, I don't give a fuck. And you know what? Spoiler, no, she's not.
What?
We're about to find out that no, she's not. But she must be under the impression that Kat is like asleep in the infirmary or is just like resting this off. But like, if I had saw Kat, or like if I had saw anyone in this kind of array, like, I don't know if I would just like leave them there. Like, I don't know if I would just leave you there. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with that. I feel like I would have to like wait it out and see if you got better. I wouldn't just like leave you in this locked house with these two other women, like after you just demonically called them a cunt.
Is this Forrest Gump running back for Bubba?
Oh my God. You guys, Forrest Gump really fucked me up today. I cried
the entire fucking time. I was like, I'm taking it off.
From beginning to end.
And would you say to me, you're the one that wanted to watch it?
Yeah, they are.
Not for this shit.
Fucking A, dude. So, yeah, Mr. Gordon arrives with the policeman. And this is one of my favorite things in a movie, when there is a record skipping and there's like mounting dreadful music.
Yeah, record skipping is always the best.
It's so good. It's like,
yeah. And then you bump into
it. Yeah. So Mr. Gordon gets in and covers his mouth to avoid whatever scream is about to come out because of what he has seen.
Yes.
And we don't know what he is looking at because we cut to black and get another title card.
Damn it.
And this title card is for Cat. Yes, bitch. This is my favorite part of the movie. And this is all just so we get exposition. This whole segment is just to fill in all the blanks and to connect all the dots that have been missing for the last hour and 15 minutes.
Get ready to pick up your jaw.
Yeah. So if you've been confused, this will tie up everything for you.
Yes.
Like immediately, you get the bathtub flashback from Joan's memories, and you realize that these are actually Cat's feet. And we veer out and see a shadow of something with horns watching and waiting for her. And this is just like a shadow of it. Like you see it in the shadow of the bathroom wall.
Mm-hmm.
So Kat then goes to a payphone and she uses 2 quarters to use this payphone. And earlier in the movie, Joan also used a payphone and held 2 quarters in her hand exactly the same way. So Joan,
we still didn't get it.
Yeah, the first time I saw this, I didn't get it either. But these characters and the things they're doing are starting to coincide. Like they live in like a coinciding universe of sorts. Even though they're 9 years apart, like there are things that
it's a comfort thing.
Yeah, it's things are coming together. So the voice on the other end of this payphone call with Kat tells her in a demonic tone that her parents are not coming, and 2.
See, and that was that distorted, like, deep masculine voice that I was talking about.
Yeah. And then he says to kill all the cunts.
Yeah, that's what he says. Kill all the cunts.
And then she hangs up. But this is how it starts. And then we get like the montage about how this motherfucking demon has been attached to her the entire time. The scene with Rose telling her about the wigs and burnt eyebrows specifically. Yeah. Like you see this from her perspective and how the demon is in the corner of the room kind of watching Rose tell the story, and like you hear the way that Kat can hear Rose talking, and like the way that Kat hears things is all jarbled and
sounds like
distorted.
Like you're in a different room.
It's fucked up. It's so chilling the way that this is all thrown at us. Then the payphone rings, and how it went to black earlier, we get how it actually happened and how it really ended. When she answers it, the voice tells her that she can stay with him. And this is when we go to the furnace. Then we cut to the butchering of the sisters. And this is like Manson shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I always forget how fucking violent this next set piece is. Like, she stabs one of them so many times that,
this
like,
is Drake.
I had to look away. But this isn't Kat anymore. Like, she gets up and goes and gets 2 pillowcases and goes down and just like does unthinkable shit. Like we don't even know what she does because we don't get to see it. Not just yet. No. But we know it's bad. We know
she
it's
gets
bad.
The pillowcases because she wants to cut the heads off and bring them down to the basement.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Oh, well, now we do.
But that's what she's doing. She wants to perform some sort of crazy ass sacrifice with these heads. So Rose awakes from her beauty nap and goes to shower. She is relieved to find out via her period that she is not pregnant. She hears a noise, calls out to Kat, and discovers a dead body at the foot of the stairwell, and is then stabbed to death and then decapitated by Kat. Well, possessed Kat.
Yeah.
This is the most outlandishly frightening jump scare that was not anything I expected in this movie. Like, because up until this point, there was no jump scares. Like,
no, not really.
Nothing like that at all. Like this, I jumped out of my seat. And every time this happens, it's like the ending of Carrie. It's like that part in Psycho where the mother comes out of the room and kills the investigator and he falls down the stairs. Like, it's those little jump scares.
Scary. That.
Oh my God.
The hand, right?
Yeah. And the way that Kat is smiling and does her full little circle while she's like hovering over the body of Rose is just spectacular. Keirnan gives us her fucking all, man. It's so...
She don't have to say shit. Just psychotic, demonic, possessed face that she has.
You could have given this girl all the awards. You still can. It's never too late. Just, I hope this girl ends up getting work until the day that she doesn't want it anymore. And again, everybody just watch it. Like, for this wrap up, for this end segment with her, like, you just need to watch it. This is when the cop that was with Mr. Gordon discovers Kat in the basement of the school with the now 3 decapitated heads of Rose and the sisters surrounding the furnace in worship, similar to what she was doing earlier in the movie.
Yes.
She says, "Hail Satan."
So she's possessed by Satan.
She's possessed by something.
Something that is hailing to Satan.
I mean, she's possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, she is then shot by this cop. And in the car ride of the future with Joan, she asks Bill to pull over and then slits his throat and attacks Lauren Holly.
So viciously.
Yeah. So it's like one horribly brutal, vicious attack to another one to
These
do more.
type of kills like really impact me. They're like so brutal.
I always block it out, like how vicious these actually are.
Yeah.
I mean, she straight up takes their heads off, puts them in a suitcase that she retrieves out of their trunk, and then she cleans up and applies some cover up to her face. Like, it's unreal. And the way that Emma Roberts does this also is, I don't know. What did you think about this? Tell me, what did you think about this whole thing?
It felt a little empty to me because I felt like she was trying to fill something, like she was just trying to feel something again. It didn't feel sincere to me, like the killing and the cutting of the heads. Because when she started cutting the head, she looked away, like she didn't want to do it.
Well, I just didn't understand, even, well, maybe so on my first watch, I just didn't understand what was happening. I had no idea why she was killing these people. I
And
still,
that's why I feel like it wasn't sincere. Like she didn't want to do it. She just wanted to feel something. Like she wanted to go back to something. She wanted to find that feeling again.
yeah. So knowing that Joan and Kat are essentially the same person now,
Yeah.
and knowing that,
Through little hints that have been given, like the gunshot, wound, it still didn't click to us. It still doesn't make sense that they're the same person.
yeah, I think it's because there's just a lot of grotesque stuff happening, and there's like a lot of like just mind fuck stuff happening, but it's like being handled in such an elegant fashion, and we're just not used to that kind of stuff as movie watchers.
Yeah,
I think I
we're
don't
taking notes and we're watching it, but we're not putting it together yet.
know. Yeah.
They haven't given us the key.
So at the hospital in the past, Kat is restrained on a bed and visited by Father Brian. He finds the demon within her eyes and exorcises it. A very weak Kat begs the demon not to go as it turns away from her and does just that. And I think that this is the saddest thing in the world.
Which sucks because she gave herself to him because she felt the loneliness. She needed it. And it's like now he's just going to turn away and leave her.
Well, also, I had thought about this as well. Was this imaginary? Did she just snap? Like, do you think
Well,
that...
that's what I'm saying. Like, did the demon ever exist?
Yeah.
Is it always the abuse?
Exactly. Is that what spiraled
Is
her?
that-
Like
yeah.
she had been being abused this entire time,
Uh-huh.
and then the car crash that killed her parents, like knowing that that's what happened
Yeah.
within her, like deep within her, that's what snapped, and like she just fucking lost it.
I'm even thinking that Rose's dad was an abuser and he would just abuse Rose too.
It's very possible. You never
And
know.
that's why the mom was like, did he tell you that he was pretty too? And it was probably the dad always telling her, like, you smell really pretty. You smell really pretty, because the demon knew that would happen between her and the dad.
I didn't even think about that.
Kind of like Girl Interrupted.
Brittany Murphy's
character.
dad. Yeah. I didn't even think about that, dude.
And that's another story that we're not paying attention to, but it's like,
Yeah.
maybe it's what's going on,
There's a lot of stuff that we don't know, like that's happening behind closed doors.
Because
for
even
a lot of people,
like the dad was still so obsessed with Rose, and that the mom was just pissed.
yeah.
I'm like, why isn't he moving along?
Well,
'Cause he's
that
like,
I think was more so along the fact of, or more so along the lines of, it had been 9 years, and
Yeah.
they're still doing the same old song and dance of, we're still
Yeah.
doing roses, we're still doing this, we haven't moved on. Like, mom probably wants to move on at this point and is probably tired of doing this.
Which these are like stalker and abuser actions. You never
Yeah.
let go.
But that could very well just be us reading it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want every door
But
open and
I-
every option because I don't understand.
I
It's like,
think so too. I think that everything is worth slashing up in that sense. I
Yeah.
think that, I don't know if anybody's ever looked at this movie from that kind of lens.
it's kind of like there's movies that have been done like this, where we have to understand like this has been going on and this is what's happening, and she was never possessed. It was just her mind was always lost in something else. The girl was possessed, we all thought during the entire movie, and at the end we found out that it was always the dad had been,
Right.
abusing her.
And so if that was how this movie ended and wrapped up, I don't know if I would have loved it as much as I do. I
Yeah.
think being left to my own devices and my own
Mhm.
thoughts are
Mhm.
more interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
It's more of it's more of a fun route, I guess. I mean, it's not fun. None of this is fun.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, we're almost done with this, but like at this point of the film, like I'm just drained. Like you had said earlier, it's very draining. She has been grieving for years, 9 years now, the loss of this demon that was forced out of her body, and now that's all that she's wanted back. And then she's been led back to this place, and she's been led to these people who, coincidentally enough, have led her back to where she needs to be, and that where she needs to be is where she wants to be, so she can reignite that old flame, literally and metaphorically, to get that loneliness removed from her life.
It's like the twist of this movie to where she ends up getting or hitching the ride from these folks that are the parents of the girl that she murdered back when she was younger. You know,
She ends up at the school, and Joan slash older cat, whichever one you want to call her now, she arrives at the now closed Branford. Branford is no longer a learning institute, probably because of all the murders.
yeah, I believe so. Pregnant girls and older murders.
Yeah. So she has her suitcase full of heads in tow and sees the remnants of an old memorial for Rose. Say that 10 times fast.
Old memorial for Rose, old memorial for Rose, old.
She goes to the basement to her old friend, the furnace, takes her clothes off, and I'm just kidding. She sees that it's out with no chance of reignition. It's like she like strokes it, like she like does this thing where she like you can feel that it's cold.
Mhm.
Like she like
There's no heartbeat in it. There's
yeah.
just
Oh,
fire.
that's a beautiful way to say it. There's no heartbeat. And she just like stares at it. She has these heads. She's done what she feels like she needed to do in order to be back here. Like everything brought her back to this, and there's nothing.
Nothing.
And for 9 years, this is what she has been probably dreaming of. And this leads older cat into the street, into the snowy streets, and she just releases the most saddest fucking howl
Yeah.
of a cry, and she has her hands over her mouth, and she is just crying.
Even when it silences, the reaction in her face as she's holding herself, to cry with the emotions, like so fucking.
Oh yeah,
draining.
the music drowns it out, and then it cuts to black, and it just ends there. That's how the Blackcoat's Daughter ends, and it's just bleak, and we don't really have answers outside of the fact that she's alone.
She's just empty.
Cat is just empty, and nothing was resolved for her. I mean, she murdered more hoping to get the love back that she lost, and she didn't get that. And it's just it's such a good movie, you guys. Like I can't say anything negative about it. Like I think it's just got like the most beautiful performance from Keirnan Shipka. It's so well rounded. Like she does so much with everything that she's given, and everybody does, but her specifically. This is her movie.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just directed with such an eye. Like this guy has such an eye. And if you just sit down and watch this from beginning to end and pay close attention and like just know what kind of movie you're watching, like I think you'll have a really, really like, I don't want to say nice time with it, but you'll find it entertaining. Like you really will.
Yeah, you really will.
I don't know. So clearly on my gory gaydar, that's a 5.
It's definitely a 5 for me.
Why?
It was so good. Like I would watch it again over and over until you bend over.
Oh my gosh. Who do you prefer? Do you prefer Emma or Keirnan?
It's like Keirnan made the movie, Emma closed it.
Well, that's literally how it is.
Yeah, it really is. But
Because
equally,
Keirnan
like
is baby,
Emma,
and then Emma is woman.
I don't know. It's because that delivery, that howl that she does at the end, it was as equally as good as all of Kiernan's entire character play in the movie for me. Like Emma Robert killed it with that fucking howl at the end.
I can respect that.
Like it was as much work. That howl alone was as much work as Keirnan put in.
I can respect that. So yeah, guys, that's the Blackcoat's Daughter. Obviously, we hated it.
Obviously. Never again.
Let us know what you thought of The Blackcoat's Daughter. If you've seen it, feel free to drop us some comments.
Yeah, let me know if you guys agree with me or if I even open new opportunities for you to think how this movie's actually been made.
Yeah, like if let us know if we're not the only ones who have looked at this from the kind of lens that we went with somehow. Like I don't know if like the abuse angle is just
It wasn't planned, honestly. Like this just like happened while the podcast wasn't rolling. It just started clicking in my head like, holy shit.
But yeah, also if you have not seen it, you should watch it. This is a high recommend from both of us, it sounds like.
Yes.
And if you have any questions or comments, you are also welcome to email us at the Gory Gaze. You can follow us on social media, more specifically Twitter and Instagram at the Gory Gaze. We're also on YouTube, kind of at the Gory Gaze. Remember when we were like, oh, we're gonna do a watch along?
Well, you don't ever know. Like maybe it'll be new for this year.
Every milestone.
Relax, we're good. It's gonna happen.
Maybe we'll see. And what are we doing next week?
What are we doing next week? Oh, you know what we're doing? We're gonna tumble out of bed for a cup of ambition. Okay, what are we gonna do next week?
That was good.
We are going to do. Fuck, I always forget what we're gonna do. I don't know.
It was your pick.
Oh, it's cherry. No, it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do The Love Witch.
The Love Witch.
I was already moving on to Cherry Falls.
Yeah, which also has a better Rotten Tomatoes score than this movie. I don't know.
Which one? The Love Witch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, but we'll see why.
We'll see. In my opinion, The Black Coat is a 100% film.
Yeah.
No qualms.
Yeah.
I don't know, Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think that anybody should trust any of these fucking critic responses.
Yeah, and before it ends, let's just say
deedle 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 dum.
This is how we close it out.
We love you guys. See you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Blackcoat's Daughter, our 20th episode.
Stay safe from the water.
Our 20th episode. I'm going to say that again.
20.
We can't believe that you've been here for 20 episodes. Okay, see you next week for 21.
Yeah, we're committed as people.
Okay, bye.
Shit, bye.